Hi friends, this is Dr. Balaji. Today I am going to talk about neonatal resuscitation, important points for the next exam. So, resuscitation is about making the baby breathe. Ventilation, that is positive pressure ventilation with bag and mask, is the most important step of successful resuscitation. It's not chest compression, it is ventilation which is the most important step. And whenever heart rate is less bradycardia, it is due to hypoxia, and hence ventilation should be the most important step rather than chest compression, even though the heart rate is less. Most important indicator of successful positive pressure ventilation is rising heart rate. Let's go through the steps of resuscitation. The three questions which will you ask when a baby is born is the baby term gestation? Is the baby breathing or crying well? And the tone is good. If the answers are yes, that is the baby is term, the baby is crying, the tone is good, we give routine care. Routine care is nothing but provide warmth, keep it with the mother, just clear the secretions, dry the baby, and that's it. If any of the answers to the question is no, that is the baby is preterm, the baby is not crying, and the tone is not good, we have to give the initial steps of resuscitation, which is receiving the baby under warmer, clear the secretions, usually mouth is suctioned first and then the nose, clear the secretions if there is any necessity, and drying the baby. Drying the baby is the most important stimulus for the baby to cry, and if still the baby doesn't cry, then stimulate the baby. Gentle stimulation by rubbing the back or just flickering the sole. So do not stimulate too much. If the baby cries, well and good, otherwise go to the next step. So next step is evaluation at 30 seconds. You look into the heart rate and see whether the baby is crying or is the baby apneic. The baby's heart rate is more than 100 and the baby is crying well, you don't go further resuscitation. And if the baby still has breathing but it is labored or the cyanosis is persisting, then you look for the pulse oximetry saturation monitoring. And remember, if the saturation is not at this target level, you go for free flow oxygen. So the target saturation is not 95% at 1 minute. Remember, it is only 60 to 65% at 1 minute, and the target saturation reaches 85% to 95% only by 10 minutes. And if the baby still has some labored breathing, go for CPAP. And if the heart rate is below 100 or the baby is apneic, then it is time for giving positive pressure ventilation with a bag and mask along with saturation monitoring. So you give positive pressure ventilation with bag and mask for 30 seconds and evaluate again at the end of 1 minute. If the heart rate is above 100, then we are going to give post resuscitation care. We are not going to go for further resuscitation. The heart rate is below 100, make sure that the positive pressure ventilation which we are giving is correct or not. See whether the seal is good or not, see whether the chest rise is good or not, and check the heart rate. If the heart rate is less than 60, then it is time to intubate the child. For heart rate less than 60, it is time to intubate and start chest compression along with positive pressure ventilation. So if the heart rate is 100, we are going to stop resuscitation, post resuscitation care. If the heart rate is below 60, we are going to give chest compression along with positive pressure ventilation. It is better to intubate at this stage. If the heart rate is 60 to 100, then we are going to give only chest compression. Then this chest compression is going to go for at least 1 minute, and then after 1 minute you are going to reassess. If still the heart rate is below 60, then we are going to give IV epinephrine. And if there is hypovolemia, we are going to give normal saline or blood transfusion. For meconium stain liquor, it's not going to change the resuscitation protocol. If the baby is vigorous baby, the cry is good, tone is good, then we are going to give only routine care. We are not going to do anything. The baby is non-vigorous, if there is poor cry and there is poor tone, then we are going to do the initial steps of resuscitation followed by positive pressure ventilation with bag and mask. So it's the same as the previous resuscitation protocol. Previously we used to do routine intubation and tracheal suctioning whenever there is meconium and the baby is non-vigorous, but now it is no longer recommended. Coming to positive pressure ventilation, we all know that at 30 seconds, if the initial steps of resuscitation is not working, we have to go for positive pressure of ventilation. So the positive pressure ventilation is going to be given by a self-inflating ambu bag or a flow limiting bag and mask, which is seen in the anesthetics, and the T-piece resuscitator. So this is self-inflating. We need not have any oxygen source for it to get inflated, but this is flow inflating, where oxygen source is necessary for the reservoir bag to be filled up. In anesthetics we often use this, and this is the T-piece resuscitator, where it delivers PEEP, which is important to keep the lungs expanded and prevents from collapse. So T-piece resuscitator has the advantage of delivering, in addition to breaths, in addition to positive pressure ventilation, it also gives a PEEP, which is positive end expiratory pressure. And regarding the size of the mask, it should cover the nose, mouth and chin. Anything that is smaller is wrong size. Anything that is bigger, that is even covering the eyes, is also the wrong size. And we should use the EC clamp technique, E here and C, to hold the mask. EC clamp technique. The rate of compressions is 40 to 60 per minute, which is the normal respiratory rate for the baby. And if we are giving chest compression also, the ratio should be 3:1. And remember that positive pressure ventilation is given after the initial steps of resuscitation for another 30 seconds. And the most important parameter to say whether your ventilation is good or not, it is increase in heart rate. And complication when you give bag and mask, pneumothorax is the important complication, and there is an absolute contraindication for positive pressure ventilation. It is congenital diaphragmatic hernia, where the intestinal loops herniate into the chest. So when you give positive pressure ventilation, air not only goes to the lungs, it also goes to the stomach and the intestine, which gets distended, and further the distress worsens in the case of congenital diaphragmatic hernia, because the intestinals gets distended and it is in the thorax, so it worsens the condition. So it's absolute contraindication. Straight away go for intubation if you see a case of congenital diaphragmatic hernia. Regarding suction of airways, it's not recommended routinely. Whenever there is secretions, you can go for suctioning. Bulb sucker is more than enough. You can also use a suction catheter. And remember, suction the mouth followed by nose. Alphabet M comes before N. So mouth followed by the nose. If you suction the nose, you might stimulate the respiration, and the secretions in the mouth can get aspirated. And suction catheter, the pressure should be around 100 centimeter of water. And percentage of oxygen use, 100% oxygen is nowadays not recommended for the resuscitation. So positive pressure ventilation with bag and mask, if the baby is term, give room air resuscitation. Do not give oxygen at all initially. And if the baby is preterm, you can start with 21% to 30% of oxygen. So nowhere it is like 100% of oxygen for initial positive pressure ventilation. And if the baby is breathing, labored breathing, cyanosis is there, you want to give free flow oxygen, still it's not 100% oxygen. You start with 30% and titrate with the SpO2 range. Keep increasing the oxygen. Only when you start chest compression, the oxygen which you use for bag and mask should be 100%. 100% oxygen when you start chest compression, along with the bag and mask, you have to give 100% oxygen. Okay. And coming to intubation, after 1 minute of bag and mask ventilation and initial steps of resuscitation, when you feel that you need to start chest compressions, it's better to intubate the child. We usually intubate with 3.5 size ET tube. It's an uncuffed tube whenever the baby is more than 2 kg or more than 34 weeks. If you are unable to intubate, then you can go for the laryngeal mask if intubation is not successful. So intubation is always better before the chest compression. And once you don't intubate, the ratio of the chest compression and bag and mask is 3:1, 3 compression and 1 bag and mask. But once you intubate, the ratio need not be followed. The ratio need not be followed. You need to give 90 compressions and you need to give 60 breaths, 40 to 60 breaths. And laryngeal mask is used when ET tube is not there, and for finding out the correct placement we can use the exhaled carbon dioxide detection, which is the most recommended method. ET carbon dioxide detector placement, which changes color from purple to yellow whenever the carbon dioxide is there. So during exhalation it becomes yellow, and during inspiration it will be purple. Similarly, the correct placement, breath sounds bilaterally, you hear in the chest bilateral breath sounds will be there. No breath sounds in the abdomen, it will be heard less. Similarly, the chest movement will be good if the endotracheal tube is in proper position. And regarding the chest compression, we start the chest compression after 1 minute when your initial steps of 30 seconds is not enough, and your bag and mask ventilation for another 30 seconds is not enough, then your heart rate is less than 60, then you go for chest compressions. We recommend the two thumb technique. NRP recommends the two thumb technique, and it is placed below the line between the nipples on the sternum, below the line between the two nipples, two thumb technique, and the remaining fingers are encircling the chest, and you will be standing on the head end, and how much depth you are supposed to compress is 1/3 the chest should go down. That is the adequate compression. So two thumb technique. And how many compressions you are going to do? It's 90 compressions every minute, and if you are not intubated, the ratio should be 3:1 every 2 seconds. So 3 compressions and 1 breath every 2 seconds. Reassess after 60 seconds of compressions, and preferably use a 3-lead ECG to assess the heart rate. Reassess after 60 seconds, and after 60 seconds, if the heart rate is still 60 per minute in spite of positive pressure ventilation of 30 seconds and chest compressions for 60 seconds, it's time to give epinephrine. And epinephrine, the proper route is umbilical venous catheter. So catheterize the umbilical vein, so that is the preferred route, and if you are not able to get, endotracheal is the second option. What is the dosage? It is 1 in 10,000 dilution of 0.1 ml per kg, which is 0.01 mg per kg IV. If you are giving endotracheal, it is 10 times. It is 1 ml per kg, 0.1 mg per kg. So remember, it is 0.1 ml per kg, and if it is endotracheal, it is 1 ml per kg. Dosage, it is 0.01 mg per kg if it is IV. It is 0.1 mg per kg if it is endotracheal. If there is evidence of shock, you go for normal saline or O negative blood. Remember, normal saline, it's not Ringer lactate, normal saline or O negative blood. And if you want to prevent anemia, it's better to adopt the delayed cord clamping technique. Thank you very much.